Okay, so red and blue. I know everyone watching who's like a retard will get mad at me when I put this in D tier, but that's where it belongs. Alright, I'm sorry to all you fucking boomers out there who haven't played a Pokemon game since. Red and blue are not good games. Even if all you want to do is recapture your nostalgia, there are much better options for doing so. Red and blue are not good games. They're buggy, there's no running, they're poorly balanced, it's just pure fucking nostalgia. D tier. Yellow is C tier, however, because, you know, following Pikachu does, I think, add quite a bit to the story. Not to the story, but like to the gameplay experience, you know what I mean? And throwing in some anime references is fun. You know, I'm not gonna say it's a great game, C tier, but it's fun. Gold and silver. I'm gonna put Crystal and Gold and Silver on the same tier. Because Crystal is basically just Gold and Silver, but like with a couple upgrades. You guys know how it is. Those upgrades aren't enough to move it up a tier, but Gen 2 gets to be B tier because A, you can go back to Kanto, which is cool. And B, people bitch about the level curve. I think it's fun that, you know, the level curve's a little fucked, so you have to do some like grinding. Not like a ton of grinding, but you have to prepare yourself for the next gym. You know, you can't just breeze through it like you can with other ones. Big fan of Gold and Silver. Ruby Sapphire is A tier. So is Emerald. Personally, I realize this is an incredibly hot take. I prefer Ruby to Sapphire. That doesn't super matter, but I prefer Ruby to Emerald as well, okay? I prefer Ruby to Emerald. Let me explain why. Emerald has more content, yes. However, Ruby and Sapphire specifically both have much more prominent contests. In Emerald, you can only do them in Slateport, but something I really enjoyed when I was playing through Ruby Sapphire the first time as a kid was, you know, you get to a new town and it's not just, oh, where's the gym, where's the this, you know, it's, oh, can I do a contest here? So it was sort of like a second adventure you were going on while you were, you know, going on the primary adventure. I think it works a lot better. I do think Emerald is a better game objectively, but I prefer Ruby. Battle Frontier's peak, you know, I can't argue with that. But I think the contest thing works a lot better in Ruby Sapphire, and they need to make a motherfucking contest-only game. Fire Red, Leaf Green. It's gonna be difficult for anything without the physical or special split to make it above a B. I just think they're so poorly balanced that, you know, it ends up detracting from the experience quite a bit. But Fire Red, Leaf Green, I will say, if you're looking to get your nostalgia jollies off and you want to go back to Kanto, Fire Red, Leaf Green is your best way to do it. Just get a ROM hack that adds the physical special split and some new fucking mons. You know, it's not going to kill you to get out of your comfort zone and see some of the new content, you know? Yeah. Diamond Pearl. Okay, this is a hot fucking take. Am I ranking these objectively, or am I ranking them personal preference? I guess we ranked Ruby Sapphire personal preference. No, I'll rate them objectively, and I'll sort the tiers. I feel comfortable with this, yeah. Diamond and Pearl. I'm sorry, they feel a little unfinished, and they're very... I don't like the way that the, region is laid out, and I think so much backtracking sort of hampers the experience. Yes, objectively, Snake, what the fuck are you talking about? My opinions are correct. I'm a professional game designer, god damn it. My opinions are correct. Here's the thing. No. People bitch that, oh, you're saying objectively, but art is subjective. There are certain things you can point to and say, this is objectively bad. Like, let's use the example Thor, The Dark World. Thor 2. that movie is objectively bad. It's unpleasant to look at. The plot is plotting and at times semi-nonsensical. And there's not really a heart to the movie. You know, first movie you had some fish out of water stuff. It wasn't much, but it was something. Second movie just kind of fills time. You know, so you can look at pieces of art and say there are things that make it objectively bad or objectively good, like objective good, Scorsese's Casino, Scorsese's Goodfellas. I love Scorsese. Because, you know, you have the time, because those movies are fucking long as shit, to get to know your characters, and the performances are subtle and nuanced, meaning, you know, you'll rewatch it and you'll pick up new details, and it's very believable, which you want from a movie like that. I understand not everyone goes to a movie to, you know, see something super believable, but even if that's not what you're necessarily looking for, you do have to acknowledge that it is, you know, there. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We were ranking Diamond and Pearl B tier. B tier, yeah. I'm gonna say they're better than Gold and Silver because they have the physical special split. Are they better than Fire Red Leaf Green? Yeah, again, they have the Fizz special split. I would rather replay Diamond and Pearl than any of these three games. Platinum. Is it? It's sort of right between A and B, honestly, for me. I'm gonna move Red down to F, sorry. Sorry, chat. I'm moving it down to F. I would never, ever replay Red and Blue ever again under any circumstances, but I might replay Yellow. All right, let's bust these tiers down a little bit more and make them more specific. You know what I mean? Like, I really like Crystal, Fire Red, Leaf Green. They're still C tier. People are gonna get their panties in a twist. Let me rename the tiers. No D tier anymore. Okay. So they're B tier. They're good. They're very good, but they're not incredible. You know, I think Platinum, it represents, you know, an improvement. Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I legitimately think from a quality and content perspective, Heart Gold, Soul Silver is one of the best Pokemon games ever made. It's sort of right in between these. I need to see where the rest of my things fit in first. But, you know, what keeps Platinum out of S tier? Well, personally, I don't care for the plot and I don't care for the pacing of the story. I think making you have to backtrack so much is what keeps it out of S tier. For me, at least. I'm gonna put Heart Gold, Soul Silver in S for now. It may move up to S plus later. We will see. Nobody likes backtracking, Dr. Doom. Nobody fucking likes backtracking, okay? Anyway, Black and White. You know, people always say that these are the masterpieces, and I think they're objectively quite good. I think they're objectively quite good. I'm not gonna put them over Heart Gold and Soul Silver because my big issue with them, and this particular opinion is a little bit more subjective. Objectively, I would say they're on par with Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Subjectively, however, they're missing the heart. Heart Gold, Soul Silver has much more atmosphere and feeling behind it, whereas Black and White, they don't feel boilerplate because, you know, obviously a lot of care went into them, but the region feels so much more bland and boring when compared to Emerald. And this is sort of an issue I have with Sinnoh as well. I know I get Nuke. We're discussing games. Yeah, I would say the region is what's holding back Black and White and Platinum more than anything. Black and White 2 is kind of more of the same. I'm gonna put it there. I personally don't care for the story, but you know. X and Y, okay, in my heart, this is S plus tier, but I know that's objectively wrong. I love X and Y. I think they're incredible because for me, the number one thing I look for a new Pokemon game is region and Mons. That is 100. Yeah, I know that's subjective. I said it was subjective, Snake. Anyway, I look for interesting region and well-designed mons. X and Y had both in spades. People don't like it because it's a little easier than the other ones, but I mean, part of that is also that they're growing up. I think the EXP share is fine because you can toggle it off in X and Y, so it's not really an issue. The 3D was cool. It's got Mega Evo. It's got Mega Evos, chat. Is it better than Platinum, though? Objectively, is it better than Platinum? Yeah, fuck you. It has a better region. It has more interesting designs, in my opinion. In my opinion. The story sucks. Yes. The Platinum story is better. I will give you that. Platinum story is actually quite interesting. X and Y story sucks ass, but it's also got Mega Evos. I'm gonna put it in A tier. I'm gonna put it right here. All right, I'm gonna put it right here. I think this is a good place for it. The story is worse. I like the new region and mons. However, I think Platinum is overall a better game. Dude, Shino with Megas would have gone so hard, Snake. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. So here's the thing. They're Ruby Sapphire remakes, but with Mega Evolves. Properly done, like a Hard Gold Soul Silver one, this would be S++. However, with the game we got, I'm going to say they're slightly better than Ruby and Sapphire. Personally, I prefer Ruby and Sapphire because I like the pixelated art style a lot better. But everything they added with the primal forms was interesting, and the Delta episode was cool. It doesn't have the Battle Frontier, so it's not beating Emerald. A proper Gen 3 remake, you're looking at an S+. But as is, it's gonna go right here. DexNav is so good. Oh my god. I will not play a ROM hack if it doesn't have DexNav at this point, unless it's like, you know, super good fake mons. I tend to prefer fake mon ROM hacks, because again, I'm looking for new mon designs primarily. But if it's just like, you know, Fire Red Leaf Green, rebalance, give me a DexNav or I'm not playing it. DexNav is one of the best features in any Pokemon game. S tier. I'm sorry, it's the truth. I don't personally, if I were to rank my enjoyment with it, I would say it's probably like C tier, just because it was so disappointing. But it's slightly better than Ruby and Sapphire. Yes, they ruined Mauville, but that still doesn't negate all the good they did. You know, I get it. We all wanted something better, but you have to admit it is better than Ruby and Sapphire. You have to admit that. Sumo, controversial opinion, I really like Sun and Moon. I know a lot of people don't because of the cutscenes. Here's the thing about the cutscenes. They should be skippable, 100%. However, that has bearings on replayability, which is a factor, but not as big of a factor. I think Sun and Moon should go in A tier. Is it better than X and Y? No. I don't personally find the region as interesting, and it's quite short, if memory serves. I don't like the mons quite as much, although I do love quite a few of the mons. It's better than Diamond and Pearl. It's better than Diamond and Pearl. Yeah. I never played Usum. I have it, I haven't gone around to it yet. Let's pee. Okay, so this game is trash. But here's the thing. A lot of people, I'm just gonna put this here now, it's not S+, not at all. But let me talk about remakes in general while we're having Omega Ruby here too. We sort of touched on this, but a lot of times people will play remake and get disappointed because it could have been so much better. But we're not judging a game based on potential, we're judging a game based on what it is. And what it is a better remake of Pokemon Yellow. It is not as good as Gold and Silver, but it is better than Pokemon Yellow, enough to get it another tier point. It's not very fun because it's so casualized. However, at that point, I mean, that's true of all the games. You can absolutely sweep through Pokemon Yellow with no effort as well. You know? Let's Go is easier, yes, but that doesn't make it objectively worse. There is a market for easier games. Personally, the way I had fun with Let's P was building a living dex while I was going through it because, you know, everything's catchable, so you can just walk through, huck balls, and have a good time. Not a good game, but better than Yellow. No, it doesn't deserve B. It's a C. It's a C. Sword and Shield. Oh boy. I don't think much of Sword and Shield. I do like the wild areas quite a bit. But I mean, everybody laughs at Chairman Rose. His plot is so stupid. So the plot sucks, but besides that, I don't like the designs of the box legends, but other than that, there are some designs I like. I do like Phalanx. Phalanx was Sword and Shield, right? Yeah. I do quite like Phalanx. I hate quite a few of the designs. Stonejourner. Ice-Q is literally my least favorite Pokemon of all time. If this were my tier list, I would personally put it here. I would rather play these games instead of it. However, objectively, I think it is probably about here. It might be better than Gold and Silver. This is an objective tier list, Frog God. No, it's not better than Gold and Silver. Gold and Silver, again, just has so much atmosphere and heart to it, where Sword and Shield doesn't. Sword and Shield feels like a guided tour. No, I agree, Snake, and that's sort of going back to the remake discussion. But we're just judging the game based on what it is, not what it meant for the franchise, not, you know, what it was moving forward. BDSP, it's so hard for me not to put this in F tier. Objectively speaking, it is better than Diamond and Pearl. It's Diamond and Pearl, but they added a tiny bit of post-game. Just a little bit. And they updated the graphics. So objectively, it is better than Diamond and Pearl. It is trash. They should have included the stuff from Platinum. They should have included Mega Evos. They should have done so much more. But objectively, it is better than Diamond and Pearl. And if you'd rather play Diamond and Pearl, that's either a preference for pixel graphics or simple nostalgia. There is no other reason to prefer Diamond and Pearl to Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond. Scarvi, F. F. You cannot make an open world game and not have level scaling. It's not open world. The path is just obscured. The idea with open world games is that you're free to tackle things whenever you would like to. However, with Scarlet and Violet, to ensure that you get a proper level curve, you have to go through the game in the way the developers intend it. Ergo, it's unplayable. Now, if you want to say with a guide for proper level curve, I'm going to move it up 1. Because it's really annoying to have to just run around all across the map. Yeah, the gym leader, the teams are shitty. I hate so many of the new design. Baxcalibur is a crime. Okay? Baxcalibur is a fucking crime. Anyway, with a guide, it's better than Red and Blue. Without a guide, it's worse. I almost want to make its own tier, but I won't. Legends Arceus is the best Pokemon game ever made. It's not traditional Pokemon, but that's sort of to its advantage. In terms of battling, it's not super difficult, but it does feature the only 7-member party to fight against, so that's fun. I would say it's more challenging than a lot of these games here. Maybe not Black and White. Black and White's a little challenging. But like the final boss, some of the side content, it gets pretty challenging. The gameplay is incredible. The feeling and atmosphere is there, not to the extent of Heart Gold Soul Silver, but it is noticeably there. And the Baxcalibur is not the Bisharp Evo. I like the Bisharp Evo. Baxcalibur is the Ice Dragon pseudo. Anyway, fantastic gameplay, fantastic decks, fantastic new forms. Cleavor is in fact one of my very favorite Pokemon. Here's the thing, now you can run Bisharp with an Eviolite, Snake. Now you can run Bisharp with an Eviolite, alright? Anyway, Legends Arceus S+. ZA, not as good. Not bad. I beat it for the first time like 3 days ago. I'm going to say ZA fits in probably S tier, A tier. I would rather play I'd rather play something else. I'm gonna say it's A tier. It is more of the Legends fun, but Lumiose is visually, I'm not even gonna say similar. Lumiose looks the same throughout the whole game, so by the end game, you're real fucking sick and tired of seeing the same areas. Legends Arceus kept things fresh by introducing new maps, new areas to maps with new abilities, and all kinds of that. Legends ZA does what it can to keep Lumiose fresh. You know, it blocks off certain rooftops, it blocks off the sewers, all of that. But it does end up feeling incredibly samey by the end game. The characters are fun. I do not care for Tawny or whatever the other one is. It's not nearly as good as Legends Arceus, and I'm going to say it's, yeah, here. Even Sumo does a better job of making it feel fresher as you go through. Plot's fun though. Doesn't make very much sense, but it's fun. Pokemon Stadium, never played. Stadium 2, never played. Battle Revolution, B tier. I don't have a lot to say about this. Basically, the gimmick of the Stadium games back in the day was being able to see your Mons in 3D, which is kind of irrelevant now. Battle Revolution, though, also had like a fun single-player story. It's honestly not as good as Sword and Shield, but it's fun. It is more focused on hardcore battling, so if you're like a Smogoon, see what I did there? Instead of Smogon, I said Smogoon. Then it's probably S tier for you because it is more focused on battling, but you miss all of the exploration and adventure that makes Pokemon Pokemon. So I'm gonna put it there. Colosseum. Did I play Colosseum? No, I did not. Gale of Darkness, however, I did play, and I'm gonna put that in A tier. I'm gonna put that above ZA. Is it better than Sumo? It's kind of an apples and oranges situation with Sumo, honestly. Gale of Darkness is something new for the franchise. I really enjoy the exploration in it. Shadow Pokemon are kind of a cool concept. Yeah, I'm gonna put it above Sumo. I'm gonna put it above Sumo. Is it above X and Y? Yes. It's not above Platinum, though. Gale of Darkness is really good because it strikes a good balance of difficulty versus playability. Because, you know, if something's too difficult, it becomes less playable. Just because, you know, there are people who won't be able to do that difficulty. And you don't want to sit there and slog through. If every single fight you have to lock the fuck in, you're going to get mentally fatigued in a turn-based game, at least, you know? Because I'm being objective, Snake. I'm sure you would make a great Pokemon game, though. Gale of Darkness strikes the perfect balance. The shadow stuff is interesting, and it gives you more option to sort of drag along your playtime if you want 100% that. Obviously, you know, dex completion is true across the board, but Gale of Darkness, especially with the shadow things, provides interesting options for gameplay as well. A tier. Rescue Team. Oh boy, we're getting into the spin-offs now. So these are gonna be kind of all apples and oranges because you know, if you prefer traditional Pokemon versus you prefer some other gameplay type, that's very much a personal opinion. I personally do. I think Rescue Team is probably B tier, I would say. Is it better than ZA? No. It's better than BDSP. It's better than BDSP, but it's not quite A tier. No, you know what? It's fucking A tier. Fuck off. It's got a really, really robust dex. It has tons of post-game. I personally don't think it's better than ZA, but this is, again, an apples and oranges thing. Is it better than ZA? I would rather play it than ZA. Yes. Because it keeps things fresh, you know? Plot's nothing to write home about, but it's fun, and, you know, I'm gonna show my age here, but when this came out, you know, everybody at school was like, oh my god, who'd you get from the Pokemon personality test? What Pokemon are you? You know, and that was fun. You know, being able to sort of be isekai'd into that world is fun. That being said, I never played any of the other ones. However, I personally, Explorers of Sky specifically, I never played it, but because I have a dear friend of mine. No. Super Mystery Dungeon, I did play this. I like it quite a bit. I don't think it's as good as Rescue Team. Well, objectively, it's better than okay, objectively, I'm going to say Rescue Team is the better game. I personally prefer Super because honestly, 3D does a lot for me. And also, I really like Mega Evolving, but Rescue Team has a much more robust dex. Doesn't really have a plot. Super does. I would be comfortable having either of these above the either, honestly. It really, really is personal preference here. Right here is personal preference. They're both better than ZA. Yeah, it comes down to which dex you prefer, and if you prefer 3D or 2D. Personally, I'm gonna put it here, because I think the Gen 6 Plus dex is better, and there's Mega Evo, so I'm gonna put it above Rescue Team. Rescue Team DX, I never played. Ranger, I played very briefly. I can't rank it fairly. Never played. Rumble, I love this game. I remember nothing about Rumble, but I quite enjoyed it. The gameplay was very simplistic. Rumble deserves this spot. I mean, there's a reason it got 3 sequels. You know what I mean? And I know I played Rumble Blast, but I don't remember anything about it. Snap is S tier. Snap, I have a special relationship with Pokemon Snap. I was going to college for photography for a while, and one day I got super stoned and went over to my friend's house and we played Snap. And Snap, for those of you who don't know, is the kind of game you beat in one sit down. It's just so much fun. Like, okay. There's something people don't talk enough about in the game design space, and that's fun, believe it or not. An example I would give is Super Mario World. Objectively, you know, it's just a fucking platformer. You know, there's not much in the way of story, not much in the way of like super cool graphics, but it's just so damn fun. And I think Snap exemplifies this quite a bit as well. Snap is S+. It's too short. I can't give it above Heart Gold Soul Silver. I can't. It's so much fun, but it's too short. It's gonna have to go here. Yeah, I feel good about right here. Well, it's not better than Platinum. It's just too short. That's the issue. Gale of Darkness or Snap? No. Snap's better than Gale of Darkness. Too short, but it's so fun. New Snap, I did not 100%. I 100%ed Snap. I did not 100% New Snap. I like it. It's fun. And it's not so fucking short. A tier. It's gotta be A tier. I'm gonna put it just under the original Snap. It's not as fun, but there's more content, so it fits in lovely right under Gale of Darkness. Yeah, fits in lovely right there. Perfect. Then we have Pokken, never played. Never played. Okay, have I played any of these other games? I played Ruby Sapphire Pinball. I mean, here's the thing about pinball games is they're fun for what they are, but they're not very deep games, so that's gonna hurt them. It's sort of like Battle Revolution. It's fun for what it is, but it's not super deep just because it is laser focused on its one kind of gameplay. So I'm gonna put it right there, actually, because if you like Pokemon, battles are more fun than pinball, you know? I did play Puzzle Challenge when I was very little. Again, you know, it's fun for what it is if you like that kind of thing. I do. It's got some content, it's got a good amount of content, so it's gonna go there. I did play Pogo. Pogo, I'm gonna say C tier. It's under yellow. Here's my big issue with Pogo. No, I'm gonna go here. Here's my big issue with Pogo is the combat. That is the big thing. Is the game is just way, way too shallow. Yes, you can go around and catch the mons, and that's the appeal, but I want something to do with the mons after, and it's really just not fun to sit there and tap your phone 45 times for combat, you know? It's too shallow. I think it has really, really good bones, and I think you could make an S+ tier game with that formula of walking around and catching things. But it's just not there. C. I played TCG Live. I did play TCG Live. I mean, what can you say about it? It's a card game, you know? It's sort of right with these other ones. It's got less content. So yeah, it's a B. I never played Master Sex. I did not play any of these other games, so here is our finalized tier list. If you disagree with me, you need to think harder, chat. And for those of you who see this list and are thinking, oh my god, what the fuck, Omega Ruby better than Platinum? Eat my ass, you know? I don't like Sinnoh as a region. It can be done well, but I think Hoenn is a much more visually appealing region than Sinnoh, because all of Sinnoh kind of looks similar, whereas Hoenn, you know, you're going from tropical island to like top of volcano to fucking the middle of the ocean. You know, there's more variety there. Whereas Platinum, you know, there's a snowy area, but you're pretty much walking through like mountainous terrain the whole game. You know, and there's a place for that, but not the whole game. That's my big issue with Platinum. I think Platinum is an incredible game, but it's gonna be A tier. Is it better than Ruby and Sapphire? I mean, it's an apples and oranges thing. Yeah, its story is so good, I'm gonna bump it up. Its story is so good, I'm gonna bump it up to S. Okay, I apologize. Here we go. This is our official OneWomanCorpo tier list. I hope you guys appreciate. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I can't even. No, fuck off. Anyway, how do I sign off videos? I don't know. Thanks for fuck off.